Three parts to the project. First of all, this is the prompt on Blackbaud. This has been up there. You can review it at your leisure. But we have the individual write-up. We have the group podcast. We have the in-class presentation. Okay? Generally, first, and then we'll talk about all three individually. Okay? Generally speaking, the way these are meant to work, you attempt on your own what I'm asking you to do in the project. That's the individual write-up. Okay? Best news, by the way, you got to type that up so you have like essentially 2 pages of notes for your project, which I think is helpful. After that, you have the group podcast. That's where you all come together. You're like, well, I did this. You kind of agree, disagree, trade ideas in that podcast, right? And then you organize all of that information and actually make it a little bit easier for us to understand. That's your presentation. That's what you come in here and do in front of us. Here and then here.
How many minutes does that podcast have to be?
Does the prompt give you a... Yeah. Should be... God, there's so many typos in this. I had to change a bunch of stuff. Now there's typos. Should be at least 10 minutes long, is what the prompt says. Here again, man, in the past, like last year, there's 3 people talking together. Like, 10 minutes tends to go by pretty quickly. I want to say the shortest one I had last year might have been 15 minutes. It goes a lot quicker than you would think. Yes?
Is this raw footage or is it edited?
What? The podcast?
Like,
that's up to you.
You said it's just talking. It's like...
Yeah.
It's like a video.
No, it's pretty informal. I mean, some people only do audio. Some people do video. Again, last year I had different people do different things. You could be slightly more creative with it if you want to. But you don't have to be. Again, the one that stands out, one class streamed themselves playing Minecraft while they were talking about the books, and they sent me the recording of the stream, which was interesting. I do think they got a wee bit distracted at times with all the Minecrafting they were doing, but that's entirely up to you. My recommendation would be obviously film or record all of it, and then I would, in my opinion, listen back to it or watch it and see. And if there's a couple things you want to edit, you for sure could do that, but that's kind of up to you. Does that make sense? Okay. Other questions? Yes.
So what do we use to do it? Is there some kind of app that we can do? What is?
Just use your phone.
Your phone.
You don't record anything with your phone?
Some videos.
You could do that. If you want to do audio only, that is potentially trickier, but it's not too hard. There's a Memos app, which I actually would not recommend, that usually comes on an iPhone. There's all kinds of free stuff. Back when I was young and cool and was in bands, there was this thing that I think still exists called Audacity. You can get for free. It's like recording software. That would be on a laptop or something. But there's all kinds of free stuff you could look into. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when is the finalized presentation due?
The individual write-up is due the 21st. That is this Friday.
It is Friday.
The group podcast is due next Monday. And then the in-class presentation basically will be the 3rd and 4th days I see you next week. Okay?
This is short. This is a week.
Yeah. Again, my approach would be, obviously, if you haven't started perhaps even thinking about the write-up, I would definitely do that starting today. That'll be due the 21st. Sometime over the weekend, you got to get with your groups and kind of plan how you want to work that out. But you want to have that to me on Monday. And then here again, the presentation, you'd have a couple days after that. You're going to have all this material you generate. And then a couple days after that, you put that together for your presentation at the end of next week. That's how we're going to do it. Any other questions about any of that? Okay, well now, for the specific portion, the individual write-up. As I said, the way this project is meant to work, you start with Gatsby. You're considering major themes, big ideas. We've talked about several of these. We'll talk about more today. And you're going to work your way from Gatsby all the way back to Unit 1. Okay? You are allowed to skip one unit if that's something you want to do, but you got to hit an author from Unit 6, and then you're kind of chaining it back to Unit 5, Unit 4, Unit 3. Okay? So if I went from Gatsby, say I thought it connected to Chopin in some way, maybe I go there, and then I go from Chopin to, say I want to move to Whitman or something like that, and you just move your way all the way back. Yes?
So you're not waiting Gatsby to after the first one, you're not waiting
No.
Gatsby?
No. Is that what your question? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I got you. What's
So
up?
We just gotta do one for each unit.
Yes.
And can we go like from 1 to 6 or 6 to 1? Or which?
No. I mean, look. If you occasionally, Judd, are you like even halfway serious? Is it?
Yeah.
I would not characterize that as halfway serious. Anyway, that's a decent question. The way I would explain it is, generally, I would recommend going chronologically, just because ideas tend to evolve in that way. But if on occasion you want to like zip back and forth a little bit, that's okay. Just in my experience, it will be easier for you to go
So
chronologically.
it's basically the homework last night, but doing it. for
But bigger. Yes. Yes.
For 6 of them.
Yes. Yeah, what's up?
So we do the main idea from Gatsby, and
Mm-hmm.
we link it to a different author, and then main ideas from them too.
Well, it doesn't have to be the main idea, but a major theme, a big idea. So like Gatsby, for instance, is a novel. It's got all kinds of stuff going on. But yeah, you start with something there and you work your way back. Okay. Are those all of the questions? Okay, so to recap, that's how the write-up works. And you basically just doing that 2 more times in different formats. The podcast is pretty informal. That's you with your group. But you're going to have your write-up already. You're going to come prepared with your own ideas, and you just kind of trade them here. And then you take that podcast. It'd be a good idea probably to take some notes or something while you're doing that. But then you sit down and go, okay, here's what we're going to do for our group. We agree, disagree, figure out how we're going to move through the units. Now we're going to come up with a presentation to give that to the class. That's how the project works. Does that make sense?
But write-up, that's just like us writing about our presentation and what like we're gonna do.
For each one of you. So it'll be before the podcast, before the presentation. So there's a very good chance your individual write-up is in some ways different from the next 2. Because you'll have ideas, but somebody else in your group might have slightly different ideas, right? But yeah, this one you do before you do the other 2.